Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is it going? It is August 20th, 2025. This is the RambleCast. I'm your host, Cody Toombs, and with me I have Corbin Davenport.
Hello.
So, today, uh, today big things happened for Google. But we're gonna wait to talk about that in a little bit. Corbin was, I believe, saved from having to watch what seems to be the least popular Google event in history.
Yes, I was saved once again by the same reason I was saved the last Apple event, which was I was extremely busy at the time editing, so
Yes.
I didn't watch anything live. I've read some of the blog posts, but yeah, that's it. I'm out of the loop for the most part. I only saw reactions.
Yeah, so there will be more to say on that later, but I have some of my own opinions on this. Uh let's see. I don't know. I think we may as well just get into the meat of this one. Before we talk about any of this week's specific topics, let's take a moment to talk about something else important, and that is charity.
Yeah, Techathon is back.
Yeah,
We
baby.
did it. So, uh, Techathon was the charity live streams. There were three of them from December or from 2020 to 2022. There's been a long break, but we're bringing it back. It's coming back. We're gonna do another stream on September 27th, 2025. You can go to techathon.live to watch it, and there's a button on there to follow the Twitch account, which is where it'll be live. So, they'll send you notification. There's no set start or end time yet because we have to put together the schedule and see when everyone's available. But there will be event for some amount of time on that day on that website on that Twitch channel, and we're going to raise money for Doctors Without Borders again, which was the one we did in 2020, and hopefully get a lot of tech writers and bloggers and YouTubers and other sorts of people to hang out and get a lot of money for Doctors Without Borders, not me, just to be clear.
Of course, if you'd like to give money to Corbin, I don't think he'll say no to it,
That's true.
but the
But
doctors who are lacking borders, they need money too.
yep. Yep. So yeah, so that's a fun thing that's happening. Most been a lot of behind the scenes work for the last like 2 weeks to get everything organized and reaching out to people, all that fun stuff. My personal hope is that we raise some amount of money. Obviously, that's the main goal. But the other main goal for me personally is to get everything organized and documented and distributed so that we can do more of these throughout the year without it being like a big deal that's a huge time sink every single time. So I'm hoping maybe there'll be another one in like December-ish, and then I don't know, maybe like three next year, some amount like that. Um, but yeah, so September 27th, mark your calendars. Tell your friends, uh, all that fun stuff. And
Yes. So, I'm pretty sure I will be part of the festivities this year. Obviously, Corbin will be as well. Um, and I believe we know a few of the others that are mostly confirmed. So, more, some of those faces will be popping up in social feeds, and we will be reminding you again on this show when Techathon is around the corner. So, and probably we might go over like the schedule and who's going to be there when we talk about it next. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe by this time next week we have a schedule or like a partial schedule at least. Um, right now I've trying to been getting like, you know, pushing the sign up form on everyone and seeing all the times we can work from and then go from there. So hopefully we'll have a real schedule soon.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Should be good times. Um, yeah, so come donate money if you can, and yeah, all that good stuff. So, moving on to our first topic. Speaking of spending money, Sony has decided they can no longer sell the PlayStation 5 at the price that they enjoyed selling it at. They are officially raising it $50 tomorrow. Literally
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yep, this is a 1-day warning. Um, so the PlayStation 5 starting tomorrow in the United States will cost $550. That is the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, which is the model that does not include a disc drive, but you can add one on later if you would like. Will be $500, and the PlayStation 5 Pro will be $750. And all of the accessories remain unchanged for now. You know, never know what the future will bring. And they said that they don't have any price changes to announce for other countries right now. So, if you're in Canada, you're good. No need to worry.
Yeah, so I think it goes without saying this is 100% Trump's tariffs. There's really no question to the motivating factor here. I think Sony probably just recognized that that's not going to go away, at least not anytime soon. So raise the price and keep making at least some money on the console. Actually, I don't know if the console is being sold at a loss or not, and they're subsidizing. I assume they still are, but usually game consoles start their lives being subsidized, and then eventually they kind of reach the point of break even or slightly profitable later in their life.
Yeah, I don't know where Sony is with that right now because also these are all second gen models. Like the original PS5 is I'm not sure when that stopped being sold or if there's still some supply somewhere, but all the ones in stores now are the modified like slim version, and the Pro and the digital edition, which Pro is also newer, and I think the digital edition is the slim, just with the disc drive cut off.
Basically, yeah.
I was planning on buying a PS5 like much later this year, maybe like early next year once I wrapped up some Xbox games and got that sold and out of the way, because I don't really want to use the Xbox anymore. But yeah, so I did buy a PS5 today. It's back there somewhere. I'm gonna plug it in, make sure everything's working a-okay, so I don't have to try to attempt a return in 2 months if I only realize then that something broke. Yeah, that's a large amount of money. I wasn't anticipating on spending when I woke up this morning, but that's just life. When you want the nice things, and Trump is raising prices.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
I will sell all the Xbox. I will recoup my investment later when I sell the Xbox stuff. So if you want a PS5, Place your order now.
Yeah.
Do it now. Do it now. You have I don't on the East Coast. There's like 8 hours left in the day, 7 hours. So,
Though I could be wrong on this. I have a feeling that if you like order through Amazon, you could wait till literally the last minute and just do an Amazon order and
like
lock in your price.
like waiting until like 11:55 to turn in your paper.
Pretty much. But
guys,
hey.
What's the opposite of a pre-order? It's like, guys, I'm pre-ordering the normal price.
Yeah. So I think it goes without saying, and you brought this up earlier, so I'm just speed running us to this point. Nintendo already basically seems to have baked in tariffs into their Switch 2 price. The Switch 1 has already gone up in price. And at this stage, I think it's a safe assumption Microsoft is probably going to do this with the Xbox. So, yeah, it really wouldn't be surprising if the Xbox ends up going up in price somewhere in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna continue being everything until someone stops Trump, which so far no one in any position of power is doing. Everything will, the eggs are going up in price. The PS5, who knows what's next? But probably all other electronics. Yeah, definitely consoles. I think they do have more cushion than like insert random PC component here, because they are just made in absurd quantities. And they're designed with some fluctuations in mind. There is padding on those, and like you said, that the profit is more in what you buy after you get the console. So they console makers want to keep that price as accessible as possible in a way that like a pre-built PC would not. But it's everything is going to go up. So it sucks. No actionable advice here except I don't know. Become a socialist. Move to a different country. Go to a different country to buy out all your electronics, like everyone in Australia did.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. I think it's better there now, but it was rough for a long time.
Buying almost anything in Australia, from what I hear, is pretty rough. So yeah, this sucks. You know, the current administration is toying with prices, and this is what we get. I mean, these are just consoles, so are they a necessity? No, but you know, it's still one of the few luxuries that has a relatively fixed price, in a manner of speaking.
Well, it's essential in a different way. You know, like you won't go hungry, but it's like I kind of need stupid games to get me through current existence. So, you know, not ideal that those are going up in price.
Yeah.
Austin said Canada for all American tech and health needs. Yeah, I'm getting like my dental surgery and my PS5 across the border.
I mean, hey, if it works. We used to go to Mexico for that stuff. Now we can. Now we go to Canada.
We're probably gonna go to Mexico more often.
So yeah. I think that's all there really is to say on this. It's just unpleasant news, but it is what it is. Yep. So speaking of other unpleasant news, apparently Intel is going to be getting some love and attention from SoftBank. I know you already read this, so I'll let you take it away.
I read a little bit of it, but
okay.
Yeah. So there's all the reporting that I don't remember if this happened after last week or if it was talked about separately or something. But there is the discussion that the Trump administration might buy a large part of Intel under the assumption that it's out of Intel needs to continue existing for national security reasons. And separately, there's also the news that SoftBank will invest $2 billion into Intel, and they said in a quote that The Verge pulled, Intel will advance. SoftBank CEO said the investment aligns with the firm's belief that advanced semiconductor manufacturing and supply will further expand in the United States. And yeah, so not much to pull from this except that SoftBank really likes investing in failing companies. uh, they were famously owned a large percentage of Sprint before Sprint successfully merged into T-Mobile. So, SoftBank got to recoup some of that, but yeah. So, not much here except that just Intel is. I don't know how much interest Intel has put forward to the Trump administration, or it's just something like the admin wants to do of its own initiative. But Intel continuing to look for it needs more money now. I need more money.
More money, more problems.
More money, more money. The problems are not decreasing with the more money. Intel still cannot build anything here. Like every single I don't know how many reports there have been of companies like interested in having chips that are manufactured in the United States by Intel and going through pre-production with Intel, and then they're just like, no, this is garbage.
Yeah.
we can't use this. So it's like it's pretty incredible that they've managed to become as bad as they are now. And my understanding is the new CEO is kind of just what you would expect an Intel CEO to be at this point, which is very short-term gains, probably not going to actually fix anything.
Which is a little surprising because Lip-Bhutan did not seem like that type when he took over. Now, I'm not going to say that he was the greatest when he stepped in. There were definitely some problematic choices that he made. A whole lot of canceling projects, which, to be fair, most of what he canceled, it kind of actually made sense. There were one or two odd choices. Certainly a lot of laying off people and making some other decisions that probably weren't good in the long run, but showed at least that he wanted to get rid of projects that were probably not going to pan out. So that at least looked promising, but then he has since turned a little bit more in that direction of just, let's see if we can make some quick money today and not worry so much about keeping the company relevant in, say, a decade.
Yeah. And I've definitely said this before that I think under much different circumstances, I think completely federalizing Intel could be good. I think if this is something that the Biden administration wanted to try in 2021, 2022, sure. Not again, we gave them, or that administration gave them a ton of money in the CHIPS Act that appears to have not resulted in much. Except, they did build fabs, so we got some, construction work out of that, I guess, but doesn't seem to be utilized all that well. And, it would have been nice if, they basically become USPS level, a company, but basically, the U.S. government is the one saying what it should do. And I don't know, maybe staving away the sort of like venture capital investors would have been good for Intel. They could get like an actual long-term roadmap going without everyone, knocking on their door being like, where's my revenue? Where is it? You promised more revenue this quarter, Intel. But that's very clearly not going to happen. Like the further away you can, if you can either go full crony with what's going on right now, or you can stay as far away from the federal government as imaginable. Those are your two options right now as a company.
Yeah, pretty much. So, really quick, hello to Juan Carlos Bagnell.
Hello.
It's been a while since I've seen your name pop up. Good to see you.
Yeah, he said, I don't know that Paul Gesner's plans would have worked, but I had a lot more faith in that kind of investment for long-term's future. Yeah, I mean, I want Intel to succeed. Like, I don't think, the PC industry is better off with just AMD, and just AMD, who doesn't even really make their own chips anymore.
Yeah.
So we're really narrowing down, but it's not going down that way, unfortunately. Or while it is going down that way, we're going to get to that point.
Well, okay, so on the one hand, yes, AMD would be a presumptive like solo act in the event that Intel were to crash. But let's not forget that obviously Qualcomm and pretty much the entire like array of ARM manufacturers would also be there to some extent to sort of step in. Certainly Apple included. So I wouldn't go so far as to say that Intel really needs to be there, but I do very much still agree. It's better that we have more competition than less. So yeah, I'm I don't want to see them go. And yeah, I actually agree with Juan on this. Gelsinger really did seem to at least have future goals in mind. Now, did he run the company particularly well? No, obviously not. But at least there was more of a active plan to try to run projects that were going to lead to things in the future. Lip-Bhutan, I'm not ruling out that he has ideas like that. And obviously he's not going to necessarily be spouting all of those from the rooftops and letting everyone know what his plans are, but it really just doesn't seem like he has that in mind. And I don't know that I want to draw quite this comparison because it's an awkward, really apples and oranges sort of thing, but I would almost draw comparisons like Gelsinger could, I mean, he definitely wasn't, but he could have at least been sort of like what Steve Jobs was to Apple, in the sense of he wanted to do bigger and more interesting things, and Lip-Bhutan seems to be more of the Tim Cook, where he's really just looking at the books and kind of doesn't care about anything after that. At least that's the way it looks today.
Yeah, and I don't know, at what point can you pull yourself out of the death spiral? I guess that's the question.
Right.
Because that does get harder every day, and I'm sure that's why Intel is going to SoftBank, probably going to the administration, probably a lot of other people. But yeah, well, a lot of fun things ahead for everyone involved.
So also really quick, I think it's worth pointing out, at one point not that long ago, SoftBank was also one of the companies sort of vying to buy ARM. And the fact that fell through, and now they're looking, of course, to Intel, it kind of screams that SoftBank is really interested in just picking up any chip technology that they could. And in this instance, it's going to end up being Intel, which, in a way, that's sort of insulting to be the second pick. But hey, you take what you can get, I guess. And Intel needed it more than ARM did.
Yeah, and speaking of ARM, I believe that's in all of these products, probably.
You mean all these products made by Google?
Hashtag made by Google. Um, yeah, today was the Google event. Um, I did not watch the event because I was busy, uh, and but I am now familiar with what we're dealing with here. I didn't watch the event, but I did see a lot of reactions to the event. I saw, I think, three or four people completely independently in different contexts compare this to a uh, home shopping network event. Uh, it seemed like it didn't go well. I heard of Jimpathy being there, and other celebs. Someone said Jonas Brothers, which
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've thought about them in years. Good for them, I guess. But yeah, I won't like comment specifically on this event because I didn't watch it, so that wouldn't be fair. But I do have a difficult time watching pretty much any tech event now because they're just all really embarrassing. Like the last few, like Google I/Os, where they're just sort of uh, everything mushed together. AI is really annoying and grating. So it's not a fun time anymore, unfortunately, which sucks. I used to be the person that watched all of those religiously, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather do almost anything else.
Oh boy, you are actually kind of making a point I'm about to make for me, in
Okay.
in a good way. Um, so yeah, the opinions on this event were not positive, to say the least. Um, in fact, I granted I'm not like scouring social networks or Reddit or anything like that for opinions, but literally everyone I saw who watched it had some sort of a negative take. It's ranging anywhere from cringe to bad to worthless to just simply not for them. And, which of course begs the very obvious question, which we asked many times in Discord: who is this for? Because it obviously didn't seem to be for. Uh, it wasn't for the nerds like us. I mean, let's be honest. It just wasn't. It wasn't for people who really wanted to know about the devices. It wasn't for like casuals who are going to come along, because let's be honest, casuals aren't going to sit down and watch this event. Um, it's not something that they're going to clip and show on the nightly news. That's which I'm going to make references to that in a little bit, but it was really unclear who this event was made for. Like, who was this supposed to appeal to and why? So, I a theory started to pop to mind, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized I think I know exactly why they made this event. So, uh, here's the thing: smartphones hit peak, like improvement level, like a decade ago. When they held announcements, smartphones were like year over year. The next year's smartphone was just 3 times, 4 times better than the one it was replacing. Huge, massive, game-changing things were happening every single year, sometimes within less than a year. And so back then, it was exciting to watch an announcement for a new iPhone. It was exciting to watch an announcement for new Samsung phones, even if Samsung decided to inflict Jimmy on you. I think his name was Jimmy. I don't remember. Um, the Broadway
I
thing was
thought
so bad.
I thought for a second you were like mispronouncing Gemini. It's like, oh yeah, Jimmy. Jimmy was there.
Um,
Good old Jimbothy.
oh, that creepy kid. Anyway, actually, the creepier one was the host, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, um, that's the thing though. Like even HTC's announcements, which they did have a couple of cringe ones, but most of HTC's announcements were just so sort of clinical and boring. But honestly, like they were watchable because they were doing big things. They were trying things. They had like new technology, and every year it was big stuff. And then that obviously started tapering off. We realized, hey, phones are actually maturing. They passed the Wild West stage. They're now actually getting better. And so then we went into several years where the announcements were a little bit more about, hey, we saw that people care about cameras, so we're focusing on the cameras. Oh, here's a way that we can make the phones better for your life in this unique way or that unique way. And so we had many years of that being the big improvement. And so the announcements stayed relevant. And now what do we have? Corbin, you just said it. I mean, we don't have good announcements anymore. They've turned into, how much can we talk about AI? They've turned into sort of hype for really dull features. They've turned into not really big changes to the phones. I mean, think about the last several Samsung phones. Every single time a Samsung phone comes out, people's response is, man, isn't this like literally last year's phone, but with just like a higher end processor?
And slightly worse in like one fun way each time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Last time
exactly.
was they dropped stylus support from the last book folding phone. But yeah, like that was I had the smallest Samsung Galaxy phone from the uh, S10. No, I had the S10e, and then I believe they jumped to the S20, and I got that, and I upgraded two more times, and each time it was like just new chip. Like I'm only doing this because it's like $100 on the trade-in
Yep,
or something like that. Like
exactly.
I'm just preserving like my trade-in value or swap of value here. There's not really much improvement. Especially it also got annoying when like I only want the small ones, and those are the ones that they didn't really put any effort into whatsoever. Like all the camera stuff was going into the ultras.
Right. So phones have been getting objectively boring. Now, here's my theory. It's look, it's not like phones are going to stop being sold. Obviously, that's not changing. But will these events be continuing in say 5 years? Is Google still going to be holding made by Google events to highlight their phone, or at least to spend a lot of time talking about their phone? Honestly, like when I start thinking more and more about it, it's like I kind of don't think they will. 5 years could be that tipping point. Maybe it'll happen before then. Maybe it'll take longer. But I think what we might eventually end up with is they might just start making ads, like just simple short ads, which they're already doing. It's not like that would be anything new, but they might just kill the events unless they have other new things to highlight. But that's a separate subject. Obviously, at that point, it's AR VR glasses or it's whatever else. We don't we don't need to speculate too much. Who knows?
Or the speaker they showed for briefly on the stream that looked new.
Right. But we're probably getting to the point that these announcements are going to die, or at least someone recognizes that they're going to die. Not only that, but I think, and now we start getting back into why this event is the way it is. I think that combined with someone at Google realized who's watching these now. Like it's the nerds like us who are either already determined to buy or replace existing Pixel phones, or people who are just watching for whatever, side reason, who have decided they're not going to buy anything. Um, or, or they're being watched by press. People who already got embargoed news, they already wrote it up, but they're just watching to see if there's anything new being announced. And they don't need to really make anything targeted at them. They don't need to make something targeted at the nerds and loyalists, because we're either buying or we're not buying. Those decisions were made before the event even happened.
Yeah, and real quick, when you're that person, when you're like watching the event to see if you missed anything, the events are almost distracting.
Oh yeah.
Because like I'll say like one of the most important things when I am writing about is an announcement. When a company is releasing a new product, whether it's Apple or Google or whatever, you go find the blog post or press release or something, and you instantly scroll to the bottom and go look at all those asterisks, that the mile-long list of asterisks they have at the bottom of the blog post, because that's where they're hiding the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff they're not going to talk about in the video. That's really important and you should know about.
So, yeah, and man, I can't count all the times that we've watched whole events. They didn't talk about some important massive issue, and the next thing that we do is go crawl the store page, or whatever tech pages that they have, looking for, oh, what things did they not mention that are really, really critical, which I have a complaint about that coming up in a minute too. But separate from this theory that I've got cooking. Okay, so
I would say, if are we moving on from event or to the phones?
I'm still finishing up my comment on the event.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so this all leads to my theory, though. I think someone at Google realized there's no point to this event. Not really. So they have all this money to spend on it. And at this point, let's be honest, we could see how much money they have to have spent on it. They had FU money, like big.
Jimmy's not cheap.
Yeah,
he's got to be wooed.
They had big FU money on this thing. So I think somebody there was like, hey, remember how Steve Jobs one time spent a crap load of money to put U2 on stage just to play out a WWDC? Or maybe it was an iPhone announcement, whatever it was. And then Tim Cook spent some FU money to bring Foo Fighters on, and I know he's brought on a few others. These are bands that they just simply liked, and they were like, you know what? We're rich as hell. Let's spend some of that money and just have some fun bringing on a band we want to see in person. What are the odds that someone at Google, hey Rick, talking to you here, someone at Google was like, hey, we've got FU money. Nobody cares about these events. Not really. Let's just bring on people that we want to see, that we literally just want to hang out with for a few hours.
Rick's a big Jonas Brothers guy, you think?
I'm not thinking everybody was one of Rick's picks. That was an accident, but I'm happy about it. But if you were to watch this, and I'm not kidding, go back and watch this and tell me that when Rick was talking to Jimmy Fallon, he didn't look kind of enamored. I think Rick genuinely is a Fallon fan. That was also an accident. I'm not as happy with that one. But
oh yeah, he did the whole Steph Curry. I didn't watch the event. I did see that blog post in my feed where they announced that like Steph Curry would be their like sports health consultant guy, and there was a paragraph in it that like it was the funniest thing to me. Yeah, okay. So I'll put this in the YouTube chat. Again, I don't pay attention to basketball whatsoever. I'm well aware of the fact that Steph Curry is one of the important ones. And I'm sure he's very good, and I'm sure he doesn't need, Google's help to continue being good. But there is a paragraph in this that I love where he said, Steven isn't only using Pixel, he's also relying on AI from Google Cloud Insights to improve his performance on the court. For example, AI Insights will help analyze his shot quality, sharpen his workout strategy, and continue to develop as a player. And he'll utilize our AI basketball coach experience, which incorporates Gemini models on Vertex AI and MegaPipe, or MediaPipe, sorry, to provide detailed form analysis, visual feedback, and personalized coaching tips. I think Steph is probably good. I don't think he needs or probably will ever use any of that. I think he got the bag and he's going.
So, uh, Stephen Curry, I genuinely think that this is the exception to what I was saying to an extent, because they're obviously like having a more prolonged relationship with him, because apparently they're actually doing some sort of partnership with his name on it. Whereas Fallon, Alex Cooper, let's see, I forgive me, but I don't remember most of the names of the other people. Obviously the Jonas Brothers too. Like, these were all people who basically just were part of this event. I think Steph was the exception because he's obviously more involved. Though, yeah, it's Stefan.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I don't know anything.
So here's the thing. Honestly, like, I really just think that various people within Google, including for sure the head of the camera team, I'd bet anything that dude listens to Call Her Daddy, the podcast, because why else was Alex Cooper there? Just, there is no reason to have her there except if someone's a fan. And
Yeah.
the Jonas Brothers, okay, they at least came up with someone who could do a video. I guess they were available. I can't really think of a reason that they picked those guys, but sure, why not? And outside of like that photographer that they brought in to take some pictures with using the Pixel, like, outside of that, most of the people that they brought in didn't make any sense at this thing at all. They didn't belong there. They didn't have any expertise or notoriety that made sense. And look, Google has had plenty of celebrity appearances at previous events. Anybody remember that just really, really terrible thing that they did with wow, I've said his name like 6 times today and I'm suddenly blanking on it. The guy who was in Ant-Man. Damn it. Oh God, I can't believe I'm suddenly blanking on his name. Anyway,
All right.
no, Hispanic guy,
Oh yeah.
and he talked about quantum computing.
The one that's in Scientology.
He probably is, yeah. I honestly don't know about that. But that does kind of fit. Let's see. I'm just IMDbing it real quick. This'll. I hate that I have to do this, but I said his name so many times, and now I'm just Michael Pena. Yeah, they had on Michael Pena for like I don't know, it was like a 10 or 15 minute segment just talking about quantum computing that was pre-recorded. He toured some facility and saw some computer that was like being suspended above the ground, and it's like, okay, that's all neat and stuff, but why is Michael Pena telling us about this? It doesn't even make sense. That one was particularly bad, but they've had others, and generally speaking, it's people that don't make sense, and that's fine, but they always feel like they were brought there in some way because Google is just trying to get their name attention somehow to sort of splatter onto their keynote and their products. This time around, I didn't get that impression. Not really. I just got the impression that these are people that got called in just because Sure, why not? Literally, just why not? Let's call in these people that we like. And I don't think there was any logic, any picks other than just this is my favorite podcast host. This is my favorite late night talk show host. This is my favorite F1 driver. This is my favorite basketball player. Like, honestly, I think that's why the event was the way it was, because they needed to do that. And at that point, why not just turn it into the home shopping network? Which, for anyone who watched it, like, there was no way not to get home shopping network vibes when they had Jimmy Fallon standing in front of a table with all of their Pixel products, and they're just literally picking them up and like doing the home shopping network style. Oh, and it comes in this color, and it comes in this color, and it comes in this color,
Right.
and it's like, you're
QR
kidding,
codes
right?
off in the corner. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the whole event
Um,
was just this sort of awkward attempt at being a home shopping network, and they didn't talk specs hardly at all. They did talk about features, but a lot of it was stuff they've already announced. Like they spent a minute talking about RCS. We're done with it. Literally, we're done with it. RCS happened. It Apple finally accepted it in. Like, it's there. There's no subject left. But they spent a minute talking about it. They spent time talking about features that have been on the camera for a few years. Like, half of the event was talking about old stuff. Why? They spent very little time talking about the new stuff, which we'll get to a few of those things in a minute. But yeah, it just was not. This was not an event for anyone who cares about the products. It was an event with FU money and some celebrities. And honestly, I don't blame him at all. I don't blame anyone at Google for this. I think they just figured let's have fun with it, and they did. And unfortunately, it kind of sucks that no one else got to enjoy it as much, but it is what it is.
yeah, I don't envy any of these marketing people, um, because, like you said, smartphones are not getting radical improvements every year, so it is difficult to find a selling point for really any of them at this point. And I'm sure Google wanted to talk about the AI stuff for as much as possible, but they're in the position where everyone is so done with AI stuff. If you're like adjacent to tech or creative industries or whatever, like you're just really sick of it. And I'll, Google's also in the position where Pixel is in the same position is quite often, where its features are the same features that are on Samsung phones and Motorola phones and HMD phones, whatever. So I can see how it'd be difficult, and I can see how almost every option for talking about this phone is you make some people mad. Like you do like overly tech focus and AI stuff, and you make a lot of the tech and creative people annoyed. You do a flashy blog post or a flashy video, and it kind of annoys the people, like you said, who are there to see like the details about the phones, like what exactly is new. And then you can do the sort of like broad market thing, which I guess they attempted this time, but it seems like that didn't work out well. And I don't know, maybe they'll take like clips from that and make it like little YouTube ads later, and they'll get some use out of that or something. I don't know, but I understand why it's difficult to uh, try to market a phone, especially this one. But yeah, I don't know. It's not fun. It doesn't seem like it worked. Um, but again, like I think this is just we're just in that phase where tech companies are uh, just embarrassing themselves constantly, and there's never an escape from it. And I don't know. But yeah, I think they did just kind of want to do like a big bash for the the Big Ten, and that was the start and end of that line of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I also again the goal of marketing here being to get people who are not already in the Pixel ecosystem to buy this phone, and that is extremely difficult. And I don't really know if Jimmy Fallon helps them in that goal, but I'm not a marketing. I don't work in marketing, so I don't know. Maybe Jimmy will sell a few of these. Who knows?
If unless they've got Fallon and Alex Cooper and I guess Steph Curry, unless these people are talking about Pixel phones in their mediums, I don't really think that having them
Right.
show up to this is going to make any difference. And
Like
look,
does the
I
next like Jimmy Fallon show have a Pixel segment in it for the next week or something?
I mean, there was that time that they partnered with. I don't remember it being Fallon, but somebody said it was. But they did that thing with Eminem on the Empire State Building, and it was connected also to a late night talk show host. So that was they actually like showed some of that or had some of it happen during the show and blah blah blah. Like that was at least a thing that had definite crossover. I forget which model that was for. I want to say that was like the Pixel 3 or something. Anyway, was it even that recent? Man, that might it I don't remember. Anyway, but yeah, I just don't think that's gonna move the needle unless it's showing somewhere else. Like, you're not gonna have random people just showing up to this to a Google event stream watching for their favorite celebrity who just happened to make a cameo here. Now, that's not to say that that's all that these celebrities are going to be doing. I said it in Discord. I'm pretty sure most of them are probably also going to be doing like shorts for TikTok, Instagram, Google Shorts. Like, they're basically going to be making some more ads.
They're gonna clip bits of this to use for the next several months. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to clip the event. Maybe a couple of bits, but I think they're just going to have these people do actual commercials, just straight up normal ads. Because frankly, most of the event stuff doesn't make for good clips. Again, if you watched it, you'd know.
They're gonna Cody. What they're gonna do is they're gonna give the event video to Gemini Vertex Video, and they will make AI generated ads using the Jimmy footage and other celebs. It's gonna be great and not at all off-putting and weird.
Juan brought up the LG V60 showed up in an Eminem video. Honestly, I do not. Well, I don't watch Eminem videos, or I barely watch music videos these days. But honestly, I didn't even know about that one. I just knew about the Pixel video, or the video that was shot on a Pixel that for that one announcement. And with that one, that was the first time that I think people realized, oh, they're putting phones inside of like giant camera cages on giant gimbals with tons of equipment and like mounting lenses in front of them and stuff like that. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's how they're doing all this amazing stuff with these cameras.
You too can shoot this video if you own a $60,000 camera rig. We're truly getting to like a Ship of Theseus situation of a shot on iPhone or Pixel or whatever.
I mean, you mock, but I actually have a bunch of the stuff that would go into making a phone camera rig like that. It's not as expensive these days. Anyway, honestly, I just don't think this event itself made any sense, except just for fun. Um, so that being said, they did actually announce some stuff at the event. Kind of. I mean, it sort of happened.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on from the meta commentary. Talk about interesting things. So I
So,
guess the first one is the base pixel, I guess.
yeah, sure. Let's hit the base pixel. Which did they did they even have a blog post for the base pixel? Am I skipping over it? I see one for the Pixel Fold. I see one for the Pro. Oh wait,
there's
that
one. Yeah,
their top
not a lot
graphic
of
makes it
yeah, a
look
lot
like
of it
that's
is
just for
like
Pro.
shared across them. Yeah, but
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I guess you should start because I think you have more opinion than me.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but sure. So the basic idea is, yeah, it's the Pixel 10 and 10 Pro. These are basically identical to the 9 and 9 Pro. They do also have an XL version of the Pros. Um, they didn't change a whole lot. Obviously, the phones look pretty similar. There are minor tweaks. I don't believe that they are the exact same dimensions, but they're very close. Shocker, I'm sure. Uh, one of the let's see, what were the big additions? Really, the only things that they did that were of note were obviously jumping to the Tensor G5, which they basically didn't talk about at all. They added Qi 2 wireless charging support, including the magnets. So, hooray, we can now, on Pixel 10s, we can now see MagSafe accessories. I'm just going to call them MagSafe because, let's be honest, that's what everyone knows them as. Google did announce, sort of, that there are accessories, but they did it in probably the least effective way I've ever seen. They they said that they have some new stuff, but oh yeah, this will also work with all of those Apple accessories. And they spent all their time talking about the fact that they work with Apple accessories, and it's like, but you guys are selling some too, right? It was the weirdest moment. I know we're right back to talking about the meta of this event, but and if you go to the Pixel page, the Pixel 10 Pro store page, if you're watching the stream, actually like watching, you saw how far I just had to scroll to get to their 4 accessories. Well, sorry, 3 accessories because one of these is the case. It's literally just a charging puck that snaps to the back of the phone, a charging stand that you can snap the phone onto, and a Pixel Snap ring stand, which is also there. So they clearly did not care about highlighting this, that they have these new accessories. So honestly, like, that almost doesn't seem like a feature in a sense. But yeah, so the phone will now work with MagSafe. And
Which hopefully the next Galaxy phones will too.
that would be nice.
Who knows? Yeah. And we can finally just all have everyone using the same magnet stuff, and everything will be good.
Well, there's still other companies that would need to hop on board for that to be a universal, but yeah, I agree. Once you get Pixel and Galaxy phones, and obviously Apple already has it, that covers a pretty good assortment.
Yeah. And they're also, kind of, it looks like the same situation as iPhone here, where if you are buying a case and you care about the magnet stuff, you need to make sure the case has the extra magnets in it. I assume we'll probably have to wait for like more hands-on or review stuff to figure out like how necessary it is, because I know like on my iPhone, like it's not really gonna stick to anything if I have a case on that doesn't have its own magnets in it. I don't know how strong Google's is, but I assume it's similar because Qi 2 is essentially MagSafe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, something to look out for if you're buying a Pixel phone and you want to use the magnets is you also need magnets in the case, and usually the case will tell you. But they should also have like a ring of the magnet on it to act as a visual indicator.
Yeah, so the only other thing that was really a highlight point, which they did not say a word about this during the event that I remember hearing. If they said it, it flew right over me. But they also did in fact add the third camera to the base Pixel. So now all three phones do have three cameras. Um,
We love to see the small phone be comparable in features to the larger one.
Comparable, yes, but if you do in
It's
fact check them,
never
they're not the
exactly.
same cameras.
Yeah.
They have basically the same focal lengths, but they're not actually the same. So the base pixel
It's
is still behind, but it's less behind.
it'd be so funny if they pulled a Samsung or an LG and they just like, all right, it has a third camera. It's a 3 megapixel macro.
Yeah, I was just gonna say macros. Oh god, macro cameras. They're the worst.
Phone companies loved throwing in the shitty macro. That was their
Yep.
favorite thing. I mean, it's still kind of a thing, but not as much because the good camera sensors also got really cheap.
Yeah. So, all told, there really wasn't much in the way of talking about the phones. Um, I mean, like the actual specs or features of the phones. The only spec that really stood out was they mentioned several times having the 50 megapixel portrait mode, and basically that was them highlighting, yeah, the main camera 50 megapixel. So yay, we know that. Like that was the only thing that was like a material spec. And even that's not really an exciting spec. It was really more highlighting that the software can can make use of a 50 megapixel image. So okay, that's that, or for portrait mode, that is. That's nice, good, but okay. You could have done that on older pixels too. It it's possible. Um, so yeah, and it was mentioned not really in the event, but just to highlight this, they are also killing the smallest storage size Pixel 10 Pro XL. So there is no longer a 128 gigabyte model. It's just 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. Otherwise, they have 128 through 1 terabyte, I believe, on all the other models. I might have that wrong, but especially with the Fold, I think the Fold also starts at 256. I'm not going to bother checking.
I
I'm
mean, I would
going to
hope
be
so.
lazy.
For that, no, no.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, the thing is, though, despite the fact that they're killing off the 128 gig model of the Pro XL, they're not reducing the price of the higher models at all. They're staying the same. They just got rid of the cheapest one. So if you wanted to get that one for some reason with the lowest storage, and honestly, why? Um, you, yeah, you just have to pay more anyway. Um, so yeah, like that's kind of all there is to say about the phone. They didn't say more at all, and what's kind of bothered me more than that is even if you go looking through the blog posts and you look at the store page and you look at a lot of things, they don't have a lot to say about the phones, like the actual hardware. Um, they do talk about the G5, the Tensor G5 chip, so cheers to that. And admittedly, I haven't really looked through all of these yet, so I don't know if they say anything really interesting in there.
Oh,
I might pop that open
I
and skim it real quick.
I do like in the blog post they mention using well, I'll just read it. They say pixel cameras have always been known for their zoom, but the new ProRes zoom gets you really close. Exclusive to the Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL, ProRes zoom captures astonishing details up to 100x zoom. It isn't just a simple crop, it uses the Tensor G5 and an all-new generative imaging model to intelligently recover and refine intricate details. So basically, you zoom in a lot, and it will like feed the result into some local AI model to make a usable image. Which, I know there's the frequent and definitely a legitimate debate over like how much of every picture coming out of a smartphone is fake, and maybe what that does to some certain body standards or what have you. But this is always how like digital zoom has worked on phones for at least the like last 10 years. Is like you zoom in further and further, and you either have two options as the camera. You can either like just it's just a pixel, like pixely mess, or it will try to fill in details, and that has always looked bad. So this is just like a different way of doing that thing that phones already do. So that seems cool. Again, like it's still not going to be a good picture, but it is better than the alternative.
Well, it will look nicer if you're making up pixels to fill in space. That being said, to be fair, it's actually been a lot longer that particularly phones, though. I mean, this even happens in the camera world. They've been inventing pixels for a long time. That's kind of how we ended up with that phase in smartphone cameras where a lot of people referred to them as the oil painting cameras. You take a picture.
Oh yeah, I had
you zoom in just a yeah, exactly. You take a picture, you zoom in just a little bit, and it's like there are weird sort of wavy things in the pixels that just obviously don't look right, and things are sort of smushed together in a way that can't be explained by any optical behavior. It wouldn't be explained by how the pixels are positioned. It wouldn't be explained by anything. It's literally just they took what they had out of the sensor, and they just kind of applied various algorithms to sort of try to fill in the blanks or turn what they did have into something that looked a little bit less noisy and a little bit more like what they thought people wanted, which for whatever reason was a Picasso painting. But yeah, it is what it is. Juan bringing up that, yeah, moving from Samsung to TSMC, they really couldn't say bad things about Samsung. I don't think that necessarily precludes talking up the qualities of the G5, because they could certainly do that without saying anything bad about Samsung. But yeah, I get what you're saying. You're right. They had to at least play somewhat nice with Samsung in that regard. You feel like they fumbled this launch. They should have recycled the Pixel 8 Pro design for the Pixel 9, and now today we'd be hyping up the new design of the Pixel 10. Honestly, I still think Pixel 6 was a better design, but I get you. Everybody hates me.
Go back to the Pixel 3 XL. We're bringing back the crazy cutout, the 5-head cutout.
Yeah, and Diablo, yes, God, I really wish we could have Mark Lavoie back, especially just so he could come on stage and be like, "Camera stuff's hard, people. Don't you understand that? You're all taking pictures wrong. Let me tell you how to do it." He was so good when he went on stage. I loved that. But anyway, so let's see. Most of what they talked about on the Pixel 10, really it was just all the AI features, which they didn't spend a lot of time on anything except for, oh my god, I am blanking again. It was Q.
Magic Q. That's in
Magic
that
Q, yeah.
post. It says, with Pixel 10, we're introducing Magic Q. It meets you in some of your favorite apps like Google Messages and the phone app to proactively offer the right information at the right time, like finding those perfect cat photos whenever mom asks me. Magic Q isn't a single app or feature. It's proactive support tightly woven across your phone to offer relevant info and helpful actions, saving you time and effort. Which I guess is useful if it works.
Yeah, they're not promising a lot with this, but at the same time they're kind of promising a lot, which is in a way I don't hate. This is the one thing in their entire demonstration that I thought looked actually genuinely good. Well, sorry, one of two things. Because presumably this is a thing that lives on your phone. It's able to access all of that data and come up with hopefully useful results. And this is basically just an LLM. That much is obvious, but it seems to at least have some contextual awareness. So that's useful. I'm okay with the idea of this feature. I don't think that it's a privacy violation so far. We'll see. I think it is useful. It's a useful way to put an LLM to work. But
yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, like I'll say this for Google. I think over the years they've been very good about using what before it was AI, it was machine learning and the tensor core and all that fun stuff, like using that local power as much as they can to make like nice little functional improvements across the phone. And they're still doing more of that, and it seems to be going fine. Like I a lot of this still looks more useful to me than whatever Apple is trying. So I'll give them props to that. They seem to be doing a little bit more thoughtful. In their other apps, they're still like cramming Gemini into places it doesn't need to be. But as far as like the Pixel operating system goes, it seems like it's mostly a net benefit. David said, I want you to say something nice about the presentation. I didn't watch it, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Let's see, something nice about the presentation. Well, they found a way to bring a woman into it. No, I have to mock. I honestly, I didn't. I don't think I hated it as much as everyone else.
Everyone gets to be cringe regardless of gender. Equal opportunity cringe.
Yes, I honestly don't think I hated it as much as everyone else. In part because, honestly, I really think that once it kind of occurred to me what that presentation was, I hit the point of like, okay, I'm fine with this now. If they're just going to spend FU money to bring in celebs that they want to hang out with, okay, you know what? You guys do you.
Hoopy said, this looks like one of those features that will become such a big deal it becomes commonplace, or it will never work and be forgotten in a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah, that's I think that's most AI stuff right now.
Well, that, or I wonder if this is going to become one of those features where a subset of people use it religiously, kind of like circle to search, and then there's a whole bunch of other people that truly completely forget that it's there. I could see both of those things happening.
Oh, so it's 3D touch.
3D touch was just an actual bad feature. But no, circle to search, I used it a few times back when it was re-announced, because it was of course a thing even before, like many years earlier.
Right. It comes like every time they kill it and then bring it back like 3 years later. It's like, wasn't this Google Now on tap? I had this on my like Nexus 5 or something.
I forget what name it had then, but yeah, it was an entirely existing feature that they just made slightly better.
Yeah, and that is something I do wish was built in the iPhone, because I do have to, like, especially in the camera. I have the Google app installed on my phone. And it's very nice for when I find like a new bug I haven't seen before. Sometimes it's on the floor of my apartment, and I'll take a picture and ask Google, "What is this on my floor?" And I receive a sometimes horrifying answer.
Uh, well, living in North Carolina, I can imagine.
There are a lot of bugs.
There's a lot of creepy bugs there.
Yeah, most of the ones around I find are spiders, but they're like just normal, like doesn't go anywhere near people spiders. I'm like, that's fine. You can live in your corner and eat like the flies that come in. That's cool with me.
Makes sense.
They don't pay rent, but that's okay. They pay in eating the flies. But then
Hoopy.
sometimes there's weirder stuff.
So Hoopy's saying the big issue with this is it seems to only exist in messages and phone, but nowhere else. Uh, that's probably true today, but I bet like most of the things that Google has done that are like this, it will probably roll out to more of the OS, and I would not be surprised at all if they eventually add some way for it to integrate into other third-party apps. Because they've done that before. Like there was the smart replies feature for a little while that originally was in their like that weird labs account on the Play Store, and I think you had to be part of a like beta group in order to even use it, if I remember correctly. And eventually they added it to more and more stuff, and eventually it just was part of Gboard. And yeah, they roll stuff out sometimes to sort of test it in apps they control, and then eventually it just grows. So I think it could happen to this too. At least I certainly hope it does, because there are other messaging apps that I'm sure would benefit from this just as well. The only catch is, would this have access to the messages in those apps? Like, those apps would have to basically give permission to Google, not for remote use, but for the phone to be able to scrape all of your messaging in, let's say, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever else. Facebook Messenger is still a thing, right? It would have to actually be able to hand that information out to this system in order for Magic Q to be able to process it and realize, oh, you said you were going to meet such and such at this time and at this place, and this other person wants to join. Do you want to respond with the time and place that you're meeting the first person? So, that kind of thing has to exist in order for Magic Q to really be able to work, or at least to be able to do all of its features.
I opened Blue Sky for a second, and the very first thing on my timeline is a journalist who's not even like a tech journalist complaining about the Google event.
Wow.
it's real bad.
Hey, you know what? That, to me, that means that there's more people watching the Google event than I thought.
That's true. That's how they break out of the bubble. Is they just become so cringe. Everyone's aware of it.
So yeah, I man, hey, at least more people were watching. That's something. So Magic Q is good. I like the idea of it. I want to see that certainly in more places. Did they say anything about whether or not this is coming to older pixels, or is it a 10 exclusive for now?
They link it in this post. They said it runs securely and privacy through a combination of the Tensor G5 chip and Gemini Nano. That's not that doesn't preclude it coming to other things.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this will probably roll out to older models in the Pixel drop in like 3 or 4 months, something like that. It'll be the thing that shows up in the December release.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Let's see the other good AI thing that they did, and I'm gonna admit it. I think they finally got to the point where this is worth giving credit. Wait, is it not even listed in their AI blog post? It was, I don't know what it's called, but it was the thing that they showed off a couple of times during the presentation where they had they had bad pictures and they basically just said fix the lighting and reframe it or whatever. And so it just processed the image and was like, hey, we got rid of the, we got rid of some overexposed light that's shining through, fixed it so it actually, like, the people look good in it. It oriented the image so that it was like leveled out and stuff like that. Honestly, at this stage, cheers. That's actually good. They finally did it. Like, they've done cool stuff before. Object removal, great, like it. Some of the various other fixes that they did, some of the like auto exposure corrections and things like that, those are all nice. I appreciate those. I don't ever really use them, but I like that they're there, and I'm sure a lot of people do use them. But the point at which you make it as simple as, hey, I just want you to fix everything, basically, and it does it. That's good. Cutting down the time so that you don't have to go feature by feature and tap a button and orient things and basically do manual editing. Look, these are smartphone pictures. It's okay if they're not wonderful, and it's okay if they're not 100% real. Forgive me, it's true. But good. Just make it so I can tap a button, or literally like one button to fix the whole image, just apply all of the fixes, basically. Okay, I'm down for that. It's at least useful. It's maybe not super fast. It obviously is working with a server, and all that's fine. But yeah, I want that simplicity. I really do.
So I think that's it for the base pixel and general stuff. I'm not seeing really much else. There is that like live assistance with like framing the photo. I think you might have mentioned that, but that's kind of neat. Just in terms of like, yeah, smartphones can take really good pictures, but like you do have to know like stand behind the light source, that kind of stuff. So if it can detect that, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, okay. So anyone watching, the animated image in the background right now is that feature where it fixes like blown out lights and stuff like that. So yeah, I just needed to look in a different blog post. And as far as I can tell, this doesn't even have a name, which is kind of weird. It's, you just quote describe your edits, and Google Photos will make fixes. And seeing as this is obviously happening on a server, there's literally nothing about this that should have anything to do with the Pixel 10. It should just, this is obviously going to be a feature that every Pixel phone will have. So, otherwise, they had stuff like the coach that's supposed to tell you how to take better pictures.
Yeah, that's what that's what I said.
Who cares? Like, people are going to take the pictures they're going to take. I don't think most people are really going to get a whole lot out of that. It'd
be really funny if it shows up when I'm trying to take the picture of the weird bug to identify it. Like, all right, you should give the bug better lighting. It's like, it's going to run away in 5 seconds. I need to take this picture now.
Yeah. So
The coach is such a mom feature. Yeah. Honey, you're not holding up the camera high enough.
Oh, okay. That feature is called guided frame, I guess. Um, I think it is. Anyway, whatever. It. I get it. Um, oh no, sorry. It's I guess it's just a Gemini camera coach. That's what it's called. Okay. Um, yeah, it's a feature. They've already had stuff like this for years, so I don't think that's even exciting. Um, yeah, guided frames the accessibility one. I just saw something that made me think that's what it was. Yeah, camera coach is this feature. It's again, it's something we've literally already had. I remember doing a teardown years ago, and the first of these features was a thing that detected if your camera lens was dirty and would recommend cleaning it. And after that one, they added two more in like the next version. One of them, I don't remember actually what they were, but I think it was two more. They've been adding stuff like this for years. It's now they're just saying Gemini is behind it, which okay, sure, if you guys say so. Uh, I don't think I don't think we need that, or rather, I don't think it's something worth hyping.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about the rest of this. I guess just the enhanced zoom seems cool, and potentially that suggestions thing, but that will depend on. That's probably something you won't be able to tell if it works after like a month or two.
Yeah.
Gotta see how that works in the long term. But so that's the base Pixel and Pro and XL, and there's also the new Fold. There's a new Pixel 10 Pro Fold. I don't like that name, but it has just the usual assortment of changes for new foldables. Every time they say the screen's a little bit more durable, and it still is, but not as durable. It's just a block, and they say it has a bigger battery. They also say it's the first foldable with Qi 2 charging built in, which I guess is surprising. But if Samsung's not interested, that just leaves all of the like other Chinese OEMs. But I don't know what they're up to because they're not allowed to sell phones in my country. But so that's good. This image they have in the blog post is concerning, where the phone is extremely off center on the standing charger because the magnets are in the middle of the folded position, I guess. Still a little bit weird to look at. And yeah, they've got new cameras on them. 48 megapixel main camera, also super res zoom up to 20 times. And yeah, I mean, it seems like a good Galaxy Z Fold alternative. Although I didn't. What's the price? Is this 2,000?
I feel like
1800.
Yeah, it was going to be 17 something, but yeah, 18.
I mean, the new Galaxy Fold is, I believe, $2,000.
Yes,
so
pretty sure.
Tiny bit cheaper.
And this is one of those spots where I will say I imagine the Galaxy Fold probably justifies its price a little bit, in that Samsung, look, I'm not a huge fan of Samsung software. I don't think it's bad. There are certain things about it that do annoy me a little bit. But when it comes to devices with form factors that are sort of outside of the norm, man, Samsung's always been a little better at it than Google. Samsung definitely did tablets better than Google. Samsung did for sure the like ultra large phone, which we now consider the normal size phone. But back when they did the Note, like the Note was way better than what Google did with very large phones at first. And I kind of feel like the same is going to be true with folding. I haven't used any of them, so I can't speak to this, but I feel like Samsung would justify that extra price in just better software. Um, that won't always be true, but I imagine it's still true for at least another couple years.
Yeah, I mean, I know like some of the split screen stuff and Dex desktop was a selling point for the folds, but now a lot of that is going into stock Android. So I'm not, or at least the Pixel skin. So I'm not sure how much of a differentiator that is now, but this is not a product segment I'm particularly interested in with my own money. So
Yeah, exactly. If I get a chance to review this and Google will send one to me, I'd love to. Otherwise, I'm not rushing to pick up a folding phone, which is of course why I haven't played with any of them yet. Um,
yeah, I'll play with it the next time I go to a Best Buy. That's what I'll do.
exactly.
Hopefully, it's not already busted by then.
It will be.
Tends to
Um,
happen with those Core 4 units.
so, to their credit, they apparently have made this dust proof. Um, so that's, I guess this is supposed to be the first IP68 folding phone. Is I don't know if that's true, but they said it during the event. Um, so cheers to that, I guess. And I know you started by saying that they made it more durable. I'm just calling out these specific, like, that's really the thing that they did, and okay, good. I bet the very next time Samsung comes out with a Galaxy Fold, it's gonna be this or maybe even somehow better.
Yep. So that's the big foldy guy, and there's also a new watch. Pixel
Yes.
Watch 4 has a more
Brighter
curved,
screen, better battery
brighter
life,
screen. Yeah.
curvier. Yeah.
Yep. Still proprietary bands.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, but that seems to just be how things are now.
Yeah, that's not going to change. Not a chance.
Yeah, one two kind of interesting things here is, well, I guess before I get to it, I was going to say is it does have some kind of satellite connectivity in it. Not entirely sure how that works because it doesn't have a lot of details, but kind of similar to the iPhone satellite stuff. The two kind of interesting things here is that they talked about a repairable design. So famously, all of these smartwatches are just like glued together, like essentially the same as earbuds, where there's just no chance it is worth it at all to ever try to repair one of these things. As soon as they die or become uh, not the watch you want, they just kind of go straight into the trash. Um, Google did say that the Pixel Watch 4 has a durable custom Corning Gorilla Glass and aerospace grade aluminum housing, and it's water resistant up to 50 meters. For the first time ever, it's serviceable with a repairable battery and display. And I don't know what that means because, tech companies saying something is repairable and a normal person saying something is really anyone else saying something is repairable are two very different things. Like how Apple has a self-service iPhone repair that is like the most convoluted and difficult process ever conceived on this earth to repair an electronic device. Outside of like whatever John Deere is doing, I don't know. I'm not a farmer, but I've heard they're pretty bad. So I will. I believe they also said this about the new Pixel Buds, but I will wait and see what iFixit says, because something tells me it's still going to be like a 2 or 3 out of 10 on their scale. But I'd love to be proven wrong.
I I'm going to be a little less cynical and a little more cynical at the same time. I think that it is going to actually be genuinely repairable. Um, I think iFixit is probably going to come down on it. Uh, for the reasons you're predicting, yes, it's probably going to it's going to be difficult for a regular person to repair, but I do think repairability will actually be a thing here. What I think is probably going to happen is it's going to be one of those things where removing the back is going to require either special tools or it's possibly going to be a fiddly thing, and making sure that the water seal is like actually sealed when the back goes back on. I think that's going to be a unreliable process if you don't have the right tools. So yeah, I think that this is going to be more repairable, but not necessarily consumer repairable, or not easily consumer repairable. Which that's me being less cynical. I think if anything, this is something you'll probably be able to walk into most repair shops and get done. Okay, here's me being more cynical again. I think the reason they're doing this is because various right to repair laws are either already in effect or will be coming into effect, and some of them are going to get more aggressive. And I think this is Google trying to just jump ahead of that. I I think that if they are putting out something that meets a certain base standard of repairability, they're they're not going to be forced in a or I think they're trying to do this so that lawmakers look at this and say, you know, most companies are kind of doing this at this level. That's a good level. We'll just write the laws to match what certain companies are putting out, like what Google's doing here. And that way they don't have to worry that when the lawmakers look at what's out there, they say, you know what, let's just put in a stricter law. Let's do something that requires this and that, you know, and at which point then Google and everyone else would possibly have an even steeper hill to climb, making these things repairable or making batteries replaceable or whatever. So yeah, this I suspect is just Google sort of trying to set the standard that they want to become the actual standard someday.
Yeah, I mean, at least if we're assuming that they have to replace watches under warranty that get broken or fix them, you'd think they do this out of just for themselves. Like, you know, if they're, you know, compelled either by some vague warranty or by governments to fix you know, a broken product that they sold to someone, they don't want to take apart the glued together monstrosity either. So if they can't do that, then they have to spend money and replace it and send the person a new one.
The thing is, most of the time when they do when they're working warranty stuff, 9 times out of 10, they're just sending somebody a completely brand new unit, and then taking the unit that was sent to them, basically scraping away certain pieces of it that they don't want to bother trying to refurbish, and then they refurb whatever they do keep, which is, I assume, the chip that's inside and maybe the battery, maybe a display. The rest of it, I imagine they just would toss into the garbage. So yeah, I don't think that they worry about repair so much. I think they prefer replacement, and then refurbishing the old thing just into effectively a brand new thing that they still sell as used. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would prefer to have a more repairable thing for themselves too, but I don't think that's a high enough priority.
Yeah. So there's some more. Oh yeah, the other interesting thing is this has a Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 chip. So once weren't they? The last one was some kind of tensor, right? Or they were calling it that.
I believe they said it had tensor in it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've paid attention. I saw it or looked at it, so I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, there. I did see the. I'll put this in the YouTube chat if anyone cares. I did see the Qualcomm press release come across my RSS feed, where they did announce the Snapdragon W5 Plus and W5, which they claim are the first wearable chipsets with MB, and satellite support. So it can do two-way emergency messaging directly from a wearable device, and they mentioned like someone sending a SOS. It is a 4 nanometer chipset. Sorry, there's something in my eye. And since this is a Qualcomm chip, we might see this chip in other watches, maybe. I don't know, because I'm assuming really the only there's not a lot of people left making smartwatches that need to be high-end running Android that aren't Google or Samsung. And Samsung will probably still use some Exynos thing that's what they've done for a long time, to my knowledge, on all their watches. And all the rest of the competition all uses like the real-time OS variants that you don't need a powerful chip for whatsoever.
Right. And Hoopy is saying, and I'm pretty sure I remember this now. Yeah, it was used. It had tensor cores as the coprocessor, so off.
Okay.
It very likely off die or something. But
the PCIe card hanging off your watch.
Yes. But hey, having that stuff there, I guess, feeds some AI purpose.
Yeah. And I guess notably, this isn't. Well, they do advertise real-time OS support on the Qualcomm press release, so maybe someone will use it in one of those watches and just get like incredible battery life out of it if they want. But I guess the maybe the other point here is I don't think anyone expected it to happen this year or probably even next year, but this is still just a normal like ARM chip. So that whole partnership with Qualcomm and I think Samsung and Google to make wearable RISC chips has not it's not quite real yet. That probably is still far off.
Well, it's real. I mean, they've
Right. It's not in a real product yet. I mean,
except it is. They're using RISC in to develop some of their like coprocessors. So
true.
Yeah, it is being used. It's just not the main processor.
Right. I think that's what one of the new Raspberry Pis does too. Is they have
Probably
ARM and RISC on the same die and just switches depending on what's needed, or different cores, I should say.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, that's pretty much the watch. I'll just quickly mention, because I'm not ignoring it, but they also obviously hyped up, as always. There's a new AI coach. There's various fitness related features. This is mostly stuff that they already had, or pretty much entirely had, but they've upgraded some of this stuff, and some of it they're kind of just re-announcing or hyping up yet again. That's kind of it. Like, it's good. Cheers. Glad it's there. Just, it's not that exciting. So yeah, that's the watch. Let's see, $349 for the Wi-Fi version, or $449 for the LTE version of the 41 millimeter models, and then add $50, and you can go up to the 45 millimeter version. So that is the Pixel Watch 4. And the only other thing that I believe they
The
announced
buds.
was the Buds 2A. Uh,
Yes. Yeah, so they've got new budget Pixel Buds. These ones they do have noise canceling.
yes.
So this is a between this and the new Galaxy Buds FE. Big week for budget earbuds with active noise canceling. That hopefully still sound good. Of course, like you've been able to find earbuds and headphones that have ANC that are very cheap for a long time. But sound quality was more of a up in the air.
Okay, really quick, I'm gonna sort of take issue with calling these budget. They're
Right.
129.
That's what I meant. Like, you know, they were like $50, $80 earbuds, a little bit lower that also have this, but maybe have other compromises.
Sure.
They're
But
definitely budget in relative to the not budget ones.
well, so here's the thing: the original Pixel Buds A were, I believe, $99. I might have that wrong. Maybe it was 89. Anyway, um, but yeah, so these went up in price, and let's see. Do I have? Yeah. I'm just double checking. Yeah. Okay. So these went up $30 from the original Pixel Buds A. So yeah, I feel like once you go over $100 for earbuds, you can no longer call yourself budget. At that point, you are firmly in the mid range. Like, no questions asked, you're in the mid range. I actually reviewed quite a few buds at Android Police, and man, even stuff at like the $90 price point, I would not have called budget. I feel like budget kind of sort of stops at around like 60 to $75.
Yeah, I agree. It's a weird thing to try to define. I mean, we have this discussion with smartphones constantly too, where it's like, what's a flagship? What's like a budget flagship? What's like a mid-range, whatever? And it's all sort of relative and moving around constantly. Because again, like basically, Google's just doing what Apple is now doing, where they have 4 earbud options now at different price ranges. So now they have some that are relatively budget, but I think still start at $100 for the base AirPods.
Yeah.
Yeah, Juan said OnePlus Buds 4 are gonna crush these Pixel Buds. Yeah, there's so much competition in this, including just AirPods. You can use this with Android phones.
Yeah.
You just can't change what the buttons do unless you install maybe a third-party app. But I used the original Apple AirPods with my Android phones for a long time, and they were fine. They worked better than every other company's attempt at true wireless earbuds for a long time. It took everyone else a while to figure out how that worked, but now everyone's got that. Yeah, the base, the cheapest Apple AirPods, which is the one without ANC, is MSRP $129, but it is on sale right now for $99, and it's been there for a long time. So,
yeah. So they don't mention it in this article. Did I? Okay. I don't know if it was mentioned in the event, but one sort of interesting detail is the battery in the charging case is also replaceable. So
that's good.
Yeah, Google actually doing a making a hit on the accessories to make replaceable batteries. That's a positive. I'm not going to complain about that. Obviously, that does leave the question of the buds themselves, which don't have replaceable batteries, and I don't think we're going to see that one happen anytime soon. But one thing that would
So
be kind of nice is if maybe if they created like a replacement plan, or not plan, but some sort of a replacement program where you basically keep your existing case and optionally replace the battery in it, and then maybe you could replace the buds themselves, like send those back to Google and get a new pair with a new battery in it, for like $80 or something. I don't know. Come up with whatever price would be fair, but that would kind of help, and it would at least prevent people from basically throwing away a case along with their buds every however many years.
it is interesting to me on the specs page. It says it does have a ringtone speaker for Find Hub in the case. So when you lose it, you can make it ring, which is cool. But it does not have wireless charging. It only charges with the Type-C port. So that also matches with the compromises that Apple does. The lowest end AirPods do not have wireless charging on the case. But at least they're Type-C now. Took Apple a long time to get to that point.
Yeah, that is a positive. Okay, so was there anything else? Am I missing anything on the buds? I don't think so. There really wasn't a lot to talk about there.
No, they're just earbuds.
Exactly, they're just earbuds. Also, I guess this, I don't know where this was mentioned, but The Verge highlights it. Apparently, they said somewhere something about the Pixel Buds Pro 2 are also apparently going to get a major software update that's going to add adaptive audio, which okay, this was definitely talked about during the announcement. They are adding noise protection, which it's the typical thing where if a loud noise is going to come out of the buds, they basically dampen the sound so that it doesn't blow out your hearing.
So, right, it's like nice. Active noise canceling, but much more selective. Which AirPods also has that. I've not tried that at all though. Yeah, so seems cool. Again, more uses for the hardware that already has to be in there for ANC to work.
No, it's not that. This is or I don't think it is. Wait, is this? I don't think that this is something that works like noise canceling. This is, I believe. Oh no, okay, sorry, it is for loud environment. All right, never mind. I misread. I think I tuned out that part of the event anyway because it was really a thing.
Brain's going into like primitive self-preservation mode after too much exposure to Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, that actually would pretty much explain it.
You just gotta zone out, really. It's like, I'm gonna start losing brain cells if this goes on much longer.
Yeah, so let's see. Just quickly skimming over. I don't think that there was much else that they announced. I mean, we could talk about the Steph Curry thing where he's going to be involved in fitness stuff with Google, but I don't think there's actually that much there.
Gonna find a new way to mispronounce his name.
Also, Google did bring up Gemini for Home in a blog post, not at the event. I'm just gonna summarize it the same way that I believe Austin did. They basically just are let's see, how did he say it? It's basically just upgrading Gemini and bringing it to all their home stuff. So nothing special. It's just the expected updates that everyone kind of knew were coming. So let's see. There is one thing I know I've been beating this drum for so long. I'm going to say it, and I can't believe that they did a whole segment about doing video with the phone. They had the Jonas Brothers make a music video with the phone. That was a major segment in the event. Corbin, I'm telling you, you missed some real eye-rolling stuff. Anyway,
I'll watch it at like 3x speed at some point, just to get so I can feel not out of the loop.
yes. So the thing that they didn't say a single word about, and I am so confused and blown away by this, they didn't mention AVP at all, or APV, advanced professional video. The codec that I was talking about in Discord just yesterday, and have been banging the drum about for a few months now, not a single mention of it. So I also checked the specs and store page, no mention of it. And I haven't looked around everywhere. It's possibly discussed somewhere that I didn't think to look. But honestly, really kind of surprised that didn't come up anywhere. And it's leaving me now wondering, is it possible the Pixel 10 doesn't have that feature? And if that is the case, wow, guys, just wow. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for that. I really want to know about it, and I'm just gonna say it now. And if there's and obviously, like, if there's a good trade-in, I will happily trade in my Pixel 9 Pro XL and get a 10 Pro XL. But the trade-ins are terrible right now. Like, the best that you can get, I think, is like 600 off with the trade-in. And it goes down from there. So yeah, I'm not super eager to spend that much extra on an upgrade that right now isn't looking that interesting. But at least I wanted to upgrade if that codec was going to be supported in the Pixel 10 and not the Pixel 9. If it's not there, honestly, like, the only reason I will have to upgrade is literally just because I might kind of want to keep the upgrade value of my phone. That's kind of it at this point.
Yeah. Oh, one just said sweet spot was the Pixel 8 Pro. I'm trading mine in. Google paying out better for the 8 Pro than I could get on Swappa.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's the most you can hope for. Yeah, I don't know. The camera thing just kind of makes me think of a point I know I've also brought up a lot, which is just it feels like there's continued missed opportunities for use cases of recording on the phone and moving it to a larger screen to do editing. Like, I've ranted a lot about how Apple doesn't really have like a functional, like, base level video editor anymore because iMovie sucks. And Google doesn't know how to make desktop software unless it's Chrome. That's if it's Chrome or can live in Chrome, that's great. Other than that, they stopped trying about a decade ago. Feels like that,
so what you're saying is they should make Chrome Cut.
They could. I mean, yeah, like whatever Microsoft bought, Clipchamp, I think it's called. That's just a web app. That's just Chromium or whatever. So they could do it. I'm just saying, like, it would, maybe that could be a selling point in the age of we don't know how to market phones. Is like, hey, move your high res video over to the computer. Do some editing there. Move it back to your phone if you need to for TikTok upload or whatever. But I have already ranted at length about how Apple needs to. It'd be cool if iMovie was good again, is what I've complained about. But that's okay. They already got money out of me for Final Cut, so it worked. Although not the full amount. I did get that education bonus because I'm totally a student.
Yeah. So
I'm a student of life.
you know, I get what you're saying. I think it's one of those areas where Google's competencies don't really uh, play out that scenario too well. It's one thing that, or it's something that honestly they should probably be trying to work with Samsung to to put together a better story for that. Um, that that's the only path I really see where basically you get Samsung to incorporate something into their laptops for like easy transmission of video. Then Samsung's worked with a couple of other companies uh, to do software, so it wouldn't be too unrealistic in that scenario. But I don't know. That's yeah. I
Yeah.
just can't really see a good path for Google to like work through that. Um, Also, sorry, I just got distracted for a moment as I look over and I see YouTube's dashboard saying there's no data coming to the stream, and then it pops up there's not enough data, and so yeah, it's flashing a bunch of errors at me, suggesting something's wrong. Yet at the same time, I don't see any signs that anything's wrong, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, one said tablet Chrome OS version or tablet slash Chrome OS version of the YouTube Create app would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah, again, I don't know what part of this is difficult for them because they've Google's done this where they've made like a bunch of small scale attempts at video edit. Like I remember on
Google
like
Photos.
that Google Photos, kind of has one. Before that, there was like the like ice cream sandwich era
Yep.
video editor built into Android. I forgot what that was called. But that was pretty, that was fine for the time. It wasn't anything crazy, but I
No,
remember
it was it was really really basic.
it was
Well,
better than
it was basic, but it was a multi-track editor, so I mean,
yeah.
it it was sort of basic advanced. Um, which that was always my complaint about the Google Photos editor is uh, it was definitely, it can't be called an NLE, not by a long shot. It was literally just a like trimming tool. Except you could at least import multiple videos and join them together. Uh, YouTube, the YouTube Create app would be obviously a good idea for moving to a larger screen. Um, but we'll see. I'm skeptical.
Hoopy said, did the Pixel Watch 4 lift to Gemini gesture thing get brought up at all? I feel like that's kind of a big decision by them. I didn't see that. Was that in the big blog post?
I didn't. I don't think I saw that mentioned. Let's see. Watch. Gemini is just a raise of
Yes.
away.
It says, and now Gemini, I'm reading from the Pixel Watch 4 blog post. And now Gemini, your on-wrist AI assistant, helps you get more done hands-free. With Raise to Talk, you can access Gemini by simply raising your wrist. So you can still get help or answers even when you're carrying groceries or a coffee or walking the dog. Isn't that just what Google Assistant already did, though? Like, I know that was a setting. I don't know if it was ever enabled by default, but that was a thing where I could just raise my arm and then it would be listening for the hot word.
Oh, well, listening for the hot word, yeah, I guess. I didn't notice this part during the presentation. Um, it again, I think Jimmy Fallon had kind of put my brain to sleep. But yeah, I don't know if this require a hot word? I don't. That's the thing. I feel like the way it's described, I get the impression that what they're talking about is you just raise your wrist and start talking to it, not necessarily have to use hot words or anything like that. But that sounds like a
Oh
bad
yes,
idea, so I don't
yeah,
know.
it is. It is not. It doesn't require hot word. This other blog post that they linked to on that link that says Gemini, they say Gemini on Wear OS lets you speak naturally with your watch, understanding your speech patterns and delivering fast, concise responses right on your wrist. Just speak, glance, and get what you need. Give these a try. When your hands are full, if you're busy cooking and your hands are messy, simply ask, for how long should I roast sliced vegetables and at what temperature? So there's not a hot word in there. Um, I don't know if I would ask Gemini for food advice. It might tell you to eat glue, but that's on you. You got.
So, well, the thing that bothers me about this is if you're raising it to look at it, just to look at it, like you would, then it seems like it's going to activate this. And if it's doing that, what if you are raising your wrist to look at your watch and you're talking to somebody else,
Yeah,
and and
or
you end up giving it some sort of really dumb command or saying something weird, or even just like I don't know, telling someone, um, I don't know, hey, remember to drop the kids off, and all of a sudden Gemini's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll make a note and remind you of that later or whatever. Like,
yeah, or if this doesn't have like the like personalization voice set up, like it just starts talking after it heard something in a movie you're watching or a commercial.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure that I see this as the best way to implement the feature, but whatever. I
I,
have a feeling if it ends up going rogue more than a little bit, they'll probably just add a like toggle or something that forces on some sort of an activation phrase.
yeah, the hot word was never like an annoyance with Google Assistant on my watches. What was annoying was when I would ask a question and it would spin for 10 seconds and then give up, which
Yeah.
happened all the time on Android Wear and later Wear OS. I think they eventually figured that out, but by that point I was buying Galaxy watches. So, we said these feel like solvable UX problems for a watch, but solvable doesn't mean it will be solved. Story
Truth.
of every AI and machine learning feature right now.
Story of every tech gadget everywhere from
It
every
will
company.
it will hear you perfectly, but also it will still recommend that you eat glue.
Yeah, pretty much. So I unless I'm forgetting something, that was pretty much the whole event. Um
Yeah, I think that was it.
Surprisingly, prices didn't most of them didn't really go up. Again, obviously, like the Pixel Buds did, but that was because they added features and actual like value. Um, I don't recall, but I believe the phones didn't go up, except for the fact that they got rid of the base size for the Pixel 10 Pro XL. Um, so yeah, I mean, the thing that we were saying earlier about the PlayStation going up in price being kind of an inevitability for everybody, it seems like not that much of an inevitability for Google. Um, so cheers for that. That's a plus.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I didn't pay super close attention beyond, work duties is just that I'm knee deep in the Apple ecosystem. I wasn't really going to buy anything that was announced here, but obviously I'm, always happy that there's competition. And if I decide to jump ship again at some point in the future, it would presumably either be a Pixel or I go back to Galaxy phones. So I'd like them to stay as good as possible.
Well, those would be the three most obvious options.
Right, because everyone else is done making phones.
Yeah, more or less. I
It's
mean,
either
I
that,
suppose you
it's
could go
either,
to an Asus ROG phone.
yeah, if I want, or a Motorola phone if I decide I never want an update ever. Just like, no, security, never heard of her. I don't need it.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Also, As far as I understand, and I guess I didn't check the store page, but I believe that this is true. No more SIM cards, right? For the U.S. I believe they still have a SIM slot for Europe, but I
Of course they do.
believe I believe there's no SIM port in the U.S. models now.
Control Fing for SIM. Oh yeah, on the Pixel 10 it says dual eSIM. 2 active eSIMs stores 8 or more eSIMs. And there is a note that says features carrier dependent. Okay, yeah, so the dual SIM stuff. Which, yeah, that's I still am annoyed by that. That's also the main reason of like I don't really want to review phones anymore, and I don't like try to review phones anymore, except the ones I'm gonna buy anyway. Just because like switching SIMs is annoying. Or switching eSIMs, I'm sorry. It's always going to be more annoying than just popping out the card and putting it in somewhere else. Doubly so for different ecosystems, because at that point you have to like get the carrier to do it, and the carriers are still weird about this. Usually involves talking to a person.
Hoopy. Do people remember when Motorola shipped one fast OS update for the first Moto G, and then everyone just believed that's how it was going to be for the next decade? Yeah.
It is really funny that
but that's how it was with every manufacturer.
Yeah.
Remember when OnePlus was literally beating Google to releasing like new versions of Android, or at least the updates, the monthly updates, and I think it was one major version. Anyway, yeah, there was a time when every OEM at some point or another was like, you know what, we're going to be really, really good about updates, because that's something people seem to care about. And now they don't care. Literally no one cares, except Google. And even Google doesn't do it on their newest phones very often. Most of the time, it's funny how often a new Pixel will come out, and then it's like, yeah, the Pixel 10 new phone needs an update. The Pixel 9 just got an update. The Pixel 8 just got an update. They all got updates. Pixel 10, guys, don't worry about it. Just hang out for like 2 months, and we'll get to you.
Yeah,
happens every time.
It's funny, the only Motorola phone I ever owned was also the worst software update experience I ever had. I got after my Nexus 5 bricked itself. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on a phone again, so I got the Moto G4G, which was just a slight variation of the first Moto G that actually had like full LTE support. I think it was LTE, not just 4G. But I liked it. It was a pretty good phone. Of course, I like scratched the screen like a week after I got it, but you know, that just happens. But it shipped with, I believe it was Android 4.4 or 5, or yeah. And it ran great, no issues. And then it got an update to Lollipop, and that just tanked the phone. Like I specifically remember every time I would switch apps, the apps are reloading because of like just memory leaking out the wazoo. It was really bad. I know that was a bunch of other phones too, but that was what I had at the time, and that's how I experienced it. And Motorola thought that was good enough. So at some point I switched to, I think, if I remember correctly, Lineage OS or CyanogenMod, whatever it was at the time, had an update to 5.1 first. So I switched to that, and that helped a little bit. And then at some point much later, Motorola updated the stock firmware to 5.1. But that was the out of any update to like any of my phones or computers, that was the one I remember. I was like, wow, this has made my device much worse than it was before.
So I don't
Um,
remember what version it was, but I had basically the same experience with the Note 4. I think it was the Note 4. Um, and I also had a Note 5. And the Note 5 was fine. The Note 4, it got whatever update it was. And I mean, I would go so far as to say it effectively bricked the phone. Because it was so bad. It actually, whenever I turned on the screen and entered the unlock pattern, it took so long to unlock. The screen would time out and go back to sleep and go back to the lock screen. So it would be relocked the next time I turned it on. I had to do so much to babysit the phone to get it to actually just unlock because it was so like lagged out. Um yeah, I was pretty angry about that. And Samsung eventually did push an update that fixed it, but it was, oh man, it was so bad. And that was even after like doing a full factory reset. It was just it was terrible. So yeah, it, and when they did fix it, like it took them months to fix that. I kept wondering like, how are people using a Note 4 with this software being the way it is? And at that stage, like the Note 4 was only a little over a year old. Like why did that have to be a problem?
they
Anyway,
never had an issue with Note phones again.
well, it helps that they also just got rid of the Note line eventually.
One said that was back in the era that Samsung was likely throttling CPU performance like Apple was to quote unquote encourage people to upgrade.
Yeah.
Oh, also, yeah, also brings me back to the days of like everyone cheating horrendously on benchmarks. There, that's a fun thing. You know, it just isn't really a thing anymore. Where everyone was,
Well, hardly
th-
anyone
there,
looks at benchmarks now.
well, not just benchmarks, but like I haven't really thought about the CPUs going into phones at all, like the last couple of years. But like the early days of Android was so much about, oh, we have to flash this custom kernel that like does a weird compile flag to get a little bit more performance out or overclock a CPU. um those wild west days. um Now I changed the wallpaper on my phone, and that's about it for me.
Well, there was a time, I mean, I definitely remember this a little too well. I dare say it's a nightmare level memory. But I remember when, like, if there were new benchmarks coming out about a phone, or if we were reviewing phones, benchmarks were expected for a long time. Every time there was like new, why am I forgetting names of things today? The DxO. Whenever DxO Labs put out like their ratings for a new camera or new phone's cameras, like that was always an article. People used to pay so much attention to these things, and now nobody cares what DxO says about phones. And part of that is, of course, because people finally learned how DxO was actually scoring them, so that changed a lot of stuff. Um, but no, no one really cares about the benchmarks, and why should they? Like, let's be honest. Every app you can
Phones
get
are
on the
good now. They're just good now. You don't have to. This is
for the
one thing
most
you
part,
don't really
yeah,
have to worry about. Like even the super budget phones are pretty good now.
yeah.
They just don't have like the best cameras, but
Well,
that's
they don't
okay.
have the best camera, and realistically, there might be like some games that won't play on there,
You
but
won't get updates, but that's okay.
yeah,
That's
they definitely want to get updates. But yeah, for the most part, nobody cares about this stuff anymore. We've crossed that point. And obviously, like, if you're really into AI features, then that's gonna still matter to you, but it's not like they're good benchmarks for AI stuff, especially in the chips that are being put in phones. So that's also kind of not a major thing to be
yeah.
observing. So
pretty much all those, like if all those are going to be running on this server anyway. There's not really any apps that are using local models except whatever's built into the OS.
well, yeah, yeah. Though, I mean, we kind of know that Gemini Nano is going to be a thing that apps can use. So
Been at some
actually,
point, yeah.
I think they can already. I don't know if that's still a closed beta or not, but
I do not know.
I imagine Austin will probably be able to clarify, or Hoopy. But yeah, it's, we're not. Nobody needs to care about this stuff anymore, which is good. That's how it should be. We shouldn't be getting caught up in that sort of detail. I mean, that's something that still matters a decent amount on like desktops, but at this stage, you probably shouldn't be too caught up in the specific performance metrics of a phone.
Yep, and that's Google. That's the Google event. We did it.
Yep.
I'm not buying anything. Per my previous statement, I'm in the Apple ecosystem. Also, as previously stated, I bought a PS5 today because of Trump. So I'm not going to buy anything else for a while. But
yeah, so I am at present, because this stuff's expensive and I have very little in the way of income. I'm not planning on getting any of this right now for sure, and possibly not at all. Kind of like I said, if there's a really good trade-in offer, then yeah, I might actually jump on replacing the phone and or watch. But right now the trade-ins aren't good. They're pretty stinky. So not in a rush. And I expect, or I look. So last year, or what was? Yeah, it was last year. After the Pixel 9 came out, I didn't buy it right away. I waited like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, and all of a sudden there came this crazy good trade-in on the Pixel 8, alongside a sale price on the Pixel 9. And so I don't remember exactly what it worked out to. I either got the Pixel 9 effectively for free or very close to it. And part of that also included the previous year's store credit from Google too. So, if I can get it nearly for free, yeah, of course I'm going to upgrade. But other than that, I gotta say, I'm just not motivated. There's look, the Pixel 10 Pro looks like a great phone. I'm not saying it isn't. But there's so little motivation to upgrade to it from the 9 Pro that, yeah, I just don't need to. And so at least for right now, I'm not going to. And about the same goes for the watch. Like, sure, I'd like a little bit more battery life. I don't really care about the domier screen, but and screen brightness, actually, I haven't had a complaint about either. So yeah, it's really just battery life for the watch. But hey, if there ends up being a really good trade-in deal, I'll jump on that. Otherwise, nah, I'm actually, this I think is the first year I'm really gonna be good with just sticking with last year's model, and then I'll look to upgrade next year. And then I have no interest in the buds. I'm happy with what I already use. What was the other thing?
Watch,
the phone, the buds.
watch.
Yeah, I said watch.
Oh,
Okay.
it was just the phones and the watch and the buds.
Yeah, for some reason I had it in my mind there was 4 things, but yeah, it's just the different phones plus the watch and the buds. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm I don't get me wrong, again, I'd like to upgrade, but I think it would be more wasteful this year than most.
And It's good, always good to have that option that the current phone is still getting updates and support and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's Google, and I guess we're done now. Um, 'Cause
Yes.
I gotta do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, so do I.
The
Yeah,
the the
I'm
the
going to be doing a
grind
lot of
never
review writing for the
the
next few
grind
days.
never stops, and by grind I mean normal adult uh chores.
Yes.
So
All right. So with that, on your way out, is there anything you'd like to plug, pitch, or discuss?
yes. Going in
Techathon.
the YouTube chat again, Techathon. It is happening September 27th. Put a reminder in your calendar. Ask Gemini or Siri or your other AI thingy to alert you. Go to the website. You can follow on Twitch if you know have that set up where you get notifications if someone goes live. And yeah, get hyped. I still have to plan. I still have to plan a lot.
Yes.
Me and everyone else. It's a team effort.
Um, let's see. Surprised no one's moaning about AK-60, considering how much people bitch about the 9 not having it. Honestly, I don't think people really care about 8K, or they shouldn't. Man, if anyone's caring about 8K on the phone camera, they're missing the thread. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so as for me, I will of course be doing some game streaming this weekend. Likely Overwatch, maybe other things. We'll see what happens. Oh, actually, definitely Overwatch because there's competitive drives, and I foolishly always play through those. Let's see, and of course we will be back next week with another RambleCast, where we will be talking about yet another terrible thing that some company did and some way that they're kind of killing us all. Uh, gotta go happy, right? Anyway, so if you enjoyed what you saw here and would like to support the channel, there are links down below to Cash App, Streamlabs, and Patreon. Any little bit helps. And huge thanks, of course, to supporters of the channel: David, Diablo, Austin, Carson, and Alyssa. Y'all are awesome. And of course, huge thanks to people for hanging out and chatting in the chat room. We definitely benefit from having you there, and enjoy the conversations. So cheers to Austin, Hoopy, Juan Bagnell, of course. First time I think I've seen you in the RambleCast chat room. Nice to have you. Let's see. I know Diablo was in here earlier, and I thought I even saw Alyssa, though I may be misremembering. Yes, and Hoopy actually achieved #1. He's going to have to change his Discord name now. Suddenly I'm looking back like, has he already done it? Anyway, but with that, we will be like I said, we'll be back next week, and in the meantime, hope you all have an excellent rest of your week. And with that, good night, everybody.
Bye.